Hey, Mark. So, when did you first become aware of Scotty Moore?
Oh, well, I must have been a small boy in short trousers when I first heard Scotty. I was. It would probably be Jailhouse Rock would probably been about the first thing that I got to hear in Britain. But I remember Hound Dog particularly as being one of the more important things. I mean, there was a couple of solos in the second one that were really wild. I think actually Scotty still doesn't know how he did that. He tried to do it again a number of times, didn't he? Never got it together. I didn't quite know what he did. I know the feeling.
Well, there was a time that I think you may have heard of the story that you and Chet Atkins came into Scotty's office in 1978, or was it 79?
I don't know what year it was. Yeah, no, I was talking to Chet about Scotty one day, and how important Scotty was to me and everything else. And he said, "Well, he's in town. You want to go see him?" So I said, "Yeah, it'd be great." And the next thing, there was Chet and Scotty, and they hadn't seen each other for a while, so it was a good thing that they got together. And I remember actually asking Scotty if he was still doing any playing, and I think he kind of kept a guitar around a little bit. I think he had one, but he hadn't really been playing for a long time. And I remember telling them that I should get together and come to England and play, which he has done. He's pleased about it. So if it had anything to do with him playing again, I'd be very happy about that.
Well, what happened was Chet, saw that microphone on his desk that was being RCA ribbon mic that was used as a paperweight.
Yeah.
And to trade him, he gave him the guitar that he still uses today.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's what happened. Those RCA mics mean a lot to Chet because this is the first. That mic, actually, Chet had one in his studio, but it was the first mic that was ever used to mic a kick drum. And it was on that Oh Lonesome Me, the Don Gibson thing. And I believe that was the mic, but he certainly used one of them on. I think it may have been the particular mic that it was used for the first time. Because Chet wanted the thing to go back, back, back. Everybody's going out and having fun.
Well, do you remember when you first heard Elvis?
Well, at first, yes, I do remember, and I remember the first time that I actually saw the pictures of Elvis. One of the very earliest pictures of Elvis that I remember seeing was on a plastic guitar, on the head of a plastic guitar in a shop. And I remember really wanting one. I was pretty small, and I had to wait for an awful long time before I got a guitar. Didn't have a picture of Elvis on it. I think it was a bit better than that, but it's a romance, and you've got to be slightly obsessed. And I think I was. And if you wait long enough, of course, then the obsession really does take a hold.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, do you remember, feeling like the band made a difference with what he was singing, or was it the voice that came through?
Well, there's only one Elvis, obviously, but it was a combination, and I think that combination of guys, and I think originally they did bill themselves, didn't they? Sometimes it was just Elvis, Bill, and Scotty, and they had just a thing, and there was a real patience there, I think, with Scotty, with the way that he was on those Elvis sessions, and just getting out what Elvis, trying to interpret the way Elvis wanted things to be, and I think if, who knows where it would have gone if they kept on going. I think I always think it's a shame that Scotty finished, because I know that Scotty was really into Chet, big time, and listening to a lot of different kinds of music, and I think he feels that he got kind of stuck in a little bit of a groove for a while. I thought, well, if he couldn't really take it completely seriously and move forward, then he wasn't going to do wasn't gonna. Well, that's what he told me anyway.
No, that's completely true because he was listening to Cal Farlow and Wes Montgomery and things like that. He didn't listen to rock and roll for what we thought it was.
Right.
And I think that like you said, he couldn't move forward, so he just decided to stay behind the board.
Yeah.
But the day that you met him, he's told me in the 7 or 8 years that I've been working with him, he told me that was the day that he said, well, maybe I should start looking into this again.
Well, I'm delighted if that's true. Then maybe we've done something worthwhile for once in my life.
Well, you and Alvin Lee are the two people that sought him out, and it's amazing that British guitar players are the ones that still revere him.
Well, I think in Britain, American music was, my generation anyway, when we were growing up, it was a rare and precious thing, and so it wasn't, and also it came from all sides. We got all kinds of music. We got from the blues, we got in country and pop and different areas and jazz, and we didn't really know what it was all called. We didn't know the labels, the names that things get. So we just listened to it, or it was changed in the form of skiffle. It was taken on by British musicians and different stuff. We'd listen to you might get Ray Charles singing a country song. We didn't know that Ray Charles was an Afro-American. We didn't know that it was a white kind of a style of it. We didn't know it was country and western. Didn't know those terms hardly at all. And skiffle didn't discriminate at all either. So it was just playing Lead Belly songs 1 minute and a Burl Ives song the next. So it wasn't discriminating in that sense. And but it was the fact of it was that as time went on and when we started listening to Radio Luxembourg and things like that, it was kind of precious. So you get we've got all this generations of rather odd English boys with these rock and roll fixations, and that's really what it is.
Well, when did you start putting names to the guitar players, or when did you personally become interested in who the players were?
Well, almost immediately from instrumental groups and from wanting to know. I mean, it's in Britain that people know the names of all of it, know the names of all of this stuff. And our heads are full of all of this information. And it's nothing to you, you don't think about it. But it is, what kind of guitars, what kind of drums it played. You'd spend hours just reading about it, drawing it. The first time I saw a Fender Stratocaster, it was in a window music shop. And as I was, toiling back from school, I'd just sitting there, right up at the window next to it to get as close as I could to it. It was just flamingo salmon pink thing, at an impossible price, and it was as far away as it might as well have been on Mars. But it's that kind of fixation. I think in America there were so many radio stations and so much music available. In a way, the kids were spoiled. It was just all over the place. In some ways, it's a good thing, and in other ways, perhaps there'd be a lot of American rockers who just kind of accepted that it was there. There was all this musical riches.
But even now, Scotty and DJ love to come to England because people, they don't have big egos, but they love to play shows where they're playing Elvis music, but people don't come up and just bombard them with Elvis questions. They come to hear them play as themselves.
Yeah.
And it seems like the British musicians have always, revered them as what they do.
Oh yeah, the musicians certainly. But as far as Elvis is concerned, there's still lots of Elvis imitators in Britain. You still got the Jarrow Elvis. You still get that too, just as well, the same as you do in Vegas.
Well, it's not going to be too long before we have too many Dire Straits imitators.
Oh no, please.